Hey everybody. So today we're going to talk about death. We're going to talk about what happens after we die, what to expect. And the reason I guess I want to talk about this is because, excuse me, my dog's toy is over there. He's playing with the toy. I had an aunt that recently just passed away. You know, and I don't want this video to be about me, so I'm just gonna make it just understand where I'm coming from. That when I'm making this video, I felt I needed to make a video so that you would understand what to expect when somebody dies and everything like that. But if you're worried about me, I am doing okay. I am. It's just we go through the seasons like they say in the Bible. We all go through them. There's a time for happiness, a time for crying, a time for joy and all that stuff. And I'm going through that right now, but I'll be okay. So when our loved one dies, it's heartbreaking. As you know, if you had anybody pass away, it's something, it feels like something got taken out of your heart. No matter, just every time somebody dies, another part of your heart gets taken out. And it's sad, and sometimes it can get depressing if you allow it to go that far. But it's a time also to get back with family, to forgive and to love again. But for the spirit, when the spirit leaves the body of the complication or whatever happened to that spirit part, to make the body die. When the spirit leaves the body, it sits up and it gets away from the body. There's usually a white light standing nearby. I've seen the light. It's a white, golden light. And the spirit is usually helped by a family member or loved one to cross into the light. And they go into the light. And it's just simple like that. And when I say we go into the light represents heaven. The light is of God, is heaven. It's nothing to be fearful of. So this is where we go after this life. There are spirits who choose not to go into light because we all have that free will. They are afraid of being judged by God. They've done a lot of evil things in the world. Narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths, those kind of personalities disorders. A lot of times they don't make it to heaven. They're afraid, and if they do, they're going to have to be held accountable for everything they've done by God. There have been times where I have done reading for somebody and I couldn't connect. So when I connected with my spirit guide, I would ask, hey, where's the spirit at? And they said lower realms. And that's really rare that I get somebody that made it to a lower realm. Usually seems like most of the majority of them they crossed over into the light. There have been some that, that didn't make it to the light for some reason. And then I'd probably say maybe, I don't know what percentage, but it's really small that I won't connect with somebody down there, by the way. But it will say that that spirit's down there. And that's where it is. Sometimes when you're with a loved one, sitting at their deathbed, sometimes many of us have stories, or we've witnessed something that we can't explain. People that work in hospice care understands this, nurses, and sometimes doctors understand it, but they can't talk about it, but they know what I'm talking about right now. I'm going to go back to a story of what happened to me that kind of pushed me to get to where I am. I've had a lot of lessons in this life that had to get me to where I am. When I first moved, I'm from a small town from Butte, Montana, but I moved to Billings. It's about almost 3 hour drive away. And I like Billings. And, and I had a friend, I met this guy there, and we became really good friends. His name was Monty. And so he had a house, and I moved into him, and I moved in with him. I was his roommate. And we were always close. We always did everything together. But I was in my 20s, so we're always out at the bars all the time. Just being young and, what young people do. And, we'd go and, and just do stuff like we'd go hiking or we'd go just to some small ghost town or something. We're always doing something. or go to Denver, whatever it was. People were always saying, "Oh, there's Paul, there's Monty." There's been a time in that past where we didn't get along, and it was because, when I guess I would say more my ego than anything else, and because me and him didn't get along, and we kind of went separate ways, but we still remain friends, and his dad ended up getting lung cancer, and I think his dad was a smoker. And not long after Monty got lung cancer, well, his dad died, and then Monty got lung cancer, which is interesting because Monty never smoked. He never smoked a day in his life. But he kept going to the doctors and getting the treatment. He didn't, and I believe, if I remember right, they removed it. So he was excited for that. He didn't have the cancer no more. I don't know how long ago after, but it's been a couple of years, I think, after that lung cancer came back more aggressive, and it took his life. And what happened was, I was walking my dog one day, and Monty kept going through my head, and I need to call Monty. I need to figure out what's going on. I haven't talked to him for a while, but something kept saying I need to talk to him. So I called his phone, and I said, and he answered. And I said, "Where are you?" And he goes, "I'm at the hospital, and, can come visit me." I go, "Okay, I will." And I went to visit him, and I sat with him, and we talked, and, about memories and stuff, and, just as friends would. And I'm trying to hold my cool together because I could see him not doing well. And I knew that his time was coming, so I was trying to hold it together. And I said, "Monty," I go, "when you get, Monty told me, he goes, 'Well, I'm going to hospice next week. I'm going to be at my mom's house, but I want you to know I'm getting through this. I'm going to get through this, and let's go hang out again.' I said, 'That's great. Let's do that.' But I knew this was going to be close to the end. I was walking my dog that week around the pond near my house, and it kept going through my mind. I was contemplating. So I called him, and his sister answered. And I said, 'How's Monty doing?' And she goes, 'He's not doing well.' And I said, 'When can I see?' No, before that, she goes, 'The doctors think he's got maybe about a week. He's sleeping, he hasn't eaten, he hasn't gotten up.' And so I said, 'Okay, when can I see him?' And she goes, 'Well, anytime.' So I said, 'Is it okay today to visit him?' And she goes, 'Yeah, come on down.' I drove down there. I'm so glad I did. I drove down there, and I sat with him. It was just me and him. And when you see somebody laying there that you care about, that kind of situation is hard. His breathing, it was like forced air, and it was going up and down, and I could hear it through his lungs. So me, not trying to be a little crybaby, I'm holding it in and talking with him, and I'm like, "Monty, I'm here. I want you to get through this. I want you to be happy. Come on." And I'm just starting to bawl at one point. Well, his sister comes in, gives him some morphine under his lip, and I didn't know what that was, and I'm watching him, and his breathing starts getting shallow, and I've never witnessed anybody die before me, and that breathing gets shallower and shallower. Well, all of a sudden, I'm being drawn to look to the hallway. I look to the hallway, and I do see the beam of white golden light right there, and inside that white golden light, I see two white beams, and then it disappeared. I went to go dry my eyes. My eyes were dry. I couldn't understand it. I was just bawling. I knew he passed. I called in his family. We all said a prayer, and we could hear they call the death rattle. That was hard for me. It was hard to say goodbye like that, Usually somebody that I've had that loved me always died suddenly. They always died, whether it be an accident or some kind of health-related thing that took them so quick. But with him, that was something different, but I had to learn that. That was an experience I'll never forget. But I had to learn to see that light And I had to see those two lights in that light and understand what that was about, so that when, as a medium, I can help people and describe what I'm seeing and have empathy with that as well. It was a beautiful light, you know, and I can only see the light, that golden light reminded me of the morning light that goes into your house right when the sun comes up. That's what it reminded me of. But it was a pure light, and it was like a beam of light. And there was two lights inside of it. And I knew that light was Monty, and I knew the other light was his dad. But understand that, you know, we all go through these seasons. I'm human, just like you guys are. I do feel your pain. I hold it in a lot. I do. Because, you know, I'm always afraid that when I'm doing readings, it's going to affect some of my readings. So I do hold some of that in. I want you to know that a lot many times I do pray for you. I pray for you during that time and after the reading. I pray for you. Sometimes I do. I understand the pain that people are going through. I know it too well. You know, my people will say, Paul, you've got sad eyes. I get that so much. And it doesn't bother me. It used to when I was younger, but not no more. They go, Paul, you've got sad eyes. And I said, well, maybe these are the eyes that God gave me because for me to work in this field. I don't know. You know, my dad, me and him look a lot alike. I look a lot like my mom at times too, but more like my dad, but he doesn't have the sad eyes. Sorry. It's just been a really tough week right now, but I want you guys to know I'm doing okay though. I am. My aunt's she's crossed over. My mom and my grandpa, her two favorite people, were there to help her cross over, and that made me feel better. I did a quick reading on it, and she's resting. She's in a better place now than what she was before. She had brain cancer, and it just spread through her body. I'm going through, you know, what everybody else goes through when somebody passes away. But as I was sitting here thinking about this, I was thinking, you know, I got to talk to people about this, because I know people, they have questions when people die. They want to know the answers. What happens when we die? Death is not something not to be afraid of. I know some people are afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it. It's just like it's like walking through another doorway. In fact, I've been told many times that that reality on their side it's more reality than it is on our reality, and I don't understand that, but I've been told that. I've heard the spirits when I do readings. They talk about the streets really paved with gold. The mountains are a lot bigger than the mountains we have here. People do go hunting in heaven, but when they shoot the animals, they don't die. They just come back again, almost like a video game. The people on the other side are beautiful. I've seen that. Like, I've seen their heaven behind them, and I describe that to the readers, and it gives them validation. It's a beautiful place. It is a beautiful, beautiful place, and I can't wait to go when God decides to take me one day. If I'm old enough in time, in my retirement, I'm going to write books about this place. I'm going to write books about, this is one of the chapters, or one of the books I'm going to read about, I'm going to write about, is what heaven is like, from what I'm being told, but what spirits have told me over the years. You know, usually what happens after somebody passes away is when that loved one will come around and they'll let themselves be known. And what I mean by that, they'll knock things over on a table. You might hear a knocking. You know, it depends on their personality, what kind of personality they were. That's how you can match that, what's going on in that house with that person who's crossed over. If they were a loud person, be expecting for them, you're hearing a bang or something falling in the kitchen, that's going to get your attention. If they're grandparents, a lot of times grandparents don't like to make things obvious. Usually I get that a lot. They stand back and watch. And I think that's just as their maturity as they get older. But they're not old on the other side, but as on earth-wise is what I'm trying to get at. You know, I'm sure, I have a feeling my aunt will visit me in my dreams. It's like everybody, it's past that I've loved before, always visiting me in my dreams. And the time will come and she will. I know she will. Um, but she's in a better place. That's all I know. And then all your loved ones are in a better place as well. It's, you know, there have been, I've done readings too where some spirits don't cross over. Some spirits just get stuck. And some spirits don't cross over because they've felt they've done wrong to people or done evil in the world. And they're afraid of getting judged. I've even done a reading for a lady who wanted me to connect with her uncle in California a long time ago. And over the phone. And the spirit, I couldn't connect. And so when I asked her, I go, I can't connect with your uncle. So I asked the spirit guide what happened. And the spirit got stuck because he was afraid of crossing over because he was going to get judged. Because when, in the 80s, he died of AIDS. Somehow he died of AIDS in the 80s. But during that time, there was a lot of religious people always telling these kind of people they're going to hell. But you know, I told her what she could do and to get us maybe a medium or something out there, somebody out there to help him cross over. Well, she couldn't find anybody. So what I did is I prayed really hard with her and I asked her, maybe we can talk to an angel or somebody that can come through to help him cross over, that it's okay, that he didn't do anything wrong, you know. And we prayed really hard. And at that moment, my spirit guide said he did cross over. She was very happy. She came back a month later and I was able to connect with her uncle. And it was a lot of validation and he was healed. Now understand that after a person crosses over, when I say cross over, go into the light, it takes me 30 days for me to connect with them. And the reason for that is a few reasons. One of the reasons is, you know, when a spirit leaves, when we leave our body, we go and reach a travel to make sure all our loved ones are okay during this time. We want to make sure they're okay. The second one is the journey between earth and heaven. It takes a while. It takes a lot. It just takes a lot out of that spirit. They need to rest. Let me see here. What else? What's I've been told on that? I think there's a third one. There's a third part of that. I can't remember what it was now. I'm sorry, but it just takes around 30 days, and after 30 days, then I can connect with that spirit. And I have tried to connect before, and I rarely connect right before 30 days. It's really rare if I can. And I'll tell people that just give it 30 days and see where it goes with that, and then I can connect if you can wait that long. Now, also understand that when we're in mourning, we're not going to pick up on the signs our loved ones are given to us. We're not getting the messages. We're not getting the dreams. We're not getting the knocks, the taps, whatever the spirit is doing with our lights that the other people in our family or loved ones are getting. And it's because at that moment when we're in mourning, we're going through a tunnel. It's like going through a tunnel vision. We can't see past that. And that's where we're at. We can't. So we'll see something on the ground. We'll pick it up and put it back on the table. You'll hear a noise, but you're too sad or depressed to even think about what's going on in that house. It's that loved one trying to let you know they're okay. And understand that you're going to be okay. And it takes some time. Some of us mourn. Takes a while to mourn. Some of us, for me, I know how I mourn. I mourn right away. When somebody passes away, I just go into boohoo moment for a while until it's done, and I get over it a little bit. You know, that's how I do it. You know, it might take me a day, a week, but I go right through it. But it's different for every person. And I encourage people to say, don't worry when other people tell you you need to mourn right away. You mourn when you're ready, when that time is right. Because, you know, nobody can force somebody to mourn. Everybody's different. You mourn when you're ready. It's life on the other side is so much better than life down here. I can guarantee that right now. So when I see these spirits, when they come to me, when I do my readings, I really see them in front of me. I describe to the reader what they look like, you know, and everything else. And to me, I'm not even exaggerating. They look like $1 million. They look better than the People in the People magazine. They look better than the movie stars, the the famous people that you see. And I'm not just saying that to be nice. I'm really meaning that. And in the Bible, it talks about when we die, everything gets renewed the other side, and that makes sense. Now, if you have grandparents that passed away, they never come to me looking like grandparents. If you had an aunt that died of a disease of cancer, she won't come to me looking like she's sick. If you have a cousin that had a drug abuse problem or alcohol problem, they won't come to me looking like that anymore. They always come to me looking healthy and in their prime. So their prime could be their 20s or their 30s. And when I'm seeing them, some people, like when I see them, they like to dress up to the nines. Some people I've seen just wearing a house coat, a shirt, and jeans, and that's all they wanted to wear, but they still look like $1 million. Then and then at the same time, if I can't see what's behind them, I'll ask them to show, can you show me what's behind you, or describe to me what's behind you, what's behind you, what's your heaven like? Each one of us has a heaven when we go to heaven. I've seen people on the beaches. I've seen them up in the mountains and the woods and cabins. I've seen them, like one guy had all these cars and motorcycles out in his parking lot. And that's where his heaven was. Everybody's heaven is different up there. It's never the same. But the thing that's interesting about heaven is that, people will say, well, aren't we all together? We all are together. We really are. Some families live in big houses, like big mansions, big buildings. I keep getting there, big mansions, beautiful houses. But if you want to live in the woods in a beautiful cabin, you can with your family. But if you want to go visit your aunt whose her heaven is on the beach, all you have to do is think of her, and she's going to be right there, or you can be with her. It's like that. You don't have to travel in cars or boats or anything like that, or trains. You just be right there with her in that heaven. That's all. And spirit. That's how I get all my messages, from when spirits talk like that. When spirits want to come visit us, they think of us, and they're going to be right there. Now, the interesting part of that, when I say that, is, say, for instance, if you're washing your dishes, or doing laundry, or doing housework, and all of a sudden your Uncle Tommy shows up in your head for no reason, and you haven't thought about him for a while. At that moment, your Uncle Tommy's spirit is stopping by at that moment just to say hi, and he's leaving. That's all it's about. Spirits have their own timing. And what I'm saying that is they don't have time up there, but we do. But what I'm trying to say is that some spirits will visit us in the middle of the night. Some will visit us early in the morning. What they do is they're doing their rounds. That's how I call it. So they'll go from person to person, relative to family, to loved ones, friends, to visit with them every day. And then they go back to what they're doing in heaven. They're checking on us. And there's nothing wrong with talking to them. There really isn't. So I encourage people to sit there and talk with the spirit, because what that does is it helps us get through the morning of this morning, and it also it's just, if you're open to it, you can really feel them around you. You really can. They miss us as much as we miss them. It's so true when I say that, and it's not, and it sounds corny, but it's so true. The moment we think of them, the moment we talk to them, they're really with us. And some of you who are sensitive can really feel that level next to you, and you know it's them, especially if you've been talking with them almost every day. Now, for me, I wake up in the morning, and I get ready before I get in the shower, and I see a picture of my mom on my mirror, dress her, and I always say, "Hi, Mom," and I swear I can hear her talking to me really quick. And that just helps me get. I mean, that's been 11, 12 years ago that she's passed, but that still gets me to get through it, to know that she's okay. And people will say, well, Paul, you're a medium. You can talk to your loved ones anytime you want. And that is true, I can. But to be honest with you, the human part of me kicks in, and it's hard for me to connect with them right now. Yeah, even with my mom, I have tried connecting with her, and it's hard for me. I want to find a medium where somebody I can purely trust, that can do a lot of validation, that can connect my mom for me and deliver that message to me. Because I don't want to be sitting in the middle doing a reading while she's talking to me. I want somebody to do that for me, if that makes sense. It's hard for me to do readings of family to other family members, because I think at that moment, they're judging me, saying, well, you know how so-and-so is. That's why you're saying that. I can already feel them doing that to me. So I try to encourage my family to find mediums that are better, that don't know my family, that you can trust them to do this reading. I can do it, but I don't want to. It's just hard for me. I'd rather, like I said, I would have somebody do that for me. But I am human. I don't feel like I'm anything special. I know some of you put me on this pedestal thinking I am because I have this gift. The gift I have is just being a messenger. That's all it is. It's nothing. I don't feel like it's anything big. It's just something that was ingrained in me since I was born, and I'm able to deliver that message to help people. But there's nothing to worry about when we pass. There's really not. You know, if you're good with yourself, you're good with God, and you've done the best you could on this earth, you might. I'm sure you'll go to heaven. You know, just be good to people and keep your faith in God and pray to Him and pray for other people. I don't think God wants us all to be saints. You know, heaven's not filled with saints. Even saints who were on the earth weren't saint, or a lot of them weren't saintly before they became saints. If you're looking at, you know, all these people that God chose, and even His disciples weren't all holy. They all had some kind of, you know, some kind of sin within it, all of them, or some kind of bad history. But God chose them. He just wants people to believe in Him and to trust Him and to love Him. That's all He wants. He knows what this world is better than we are. But it's don't worry about death. I think death is something that is to be. I look forward to it, actually. I look forward to the day I can see my loved ones that crossed over, my family, my friends I've loved. I miss them terribly. You know, as I'm getting older, some days I feel like I'm getting lonelier and lonelier because I don't have them with me as much as I did before. And then, but I do try my best to get by every day, because I mean, I do think of them all the time. There's one of my dogs back here. You can see him right there. He's laying on the couch. But yeah, but I just want you guys to just understand that, you know, I'm doing okay. Some of you guys are all worried about me. I keep getting messages. Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm doing okay. I am. I love this lady, my aunt. She was one of my favorite aunts. And she took, my mom, she always babysat me, and I always trusted her. She was very loving and caring. And she's got a very smart lady. She's got a sense of humor. I got a lot of memories with her. But I'll be okay. And I just thought about today about this. It's like, you know, I'm like everybody else. I do mourn like you. I do feel the pain of our loved ones when they're not with us. And, you know, sometimes this is a setback for me. And it's a good setback because it's a thing I have to learn. It's a learning lesson. I mean, I'm always going to learn. If God keeps me here, if it's His will to keep me here until I'm in my 70s, I'll still be learning lessons. It's not, my lessons are never going to be ending. I don't have the answers for everything. I don't. And I'll never say I do, because that would be ego. And I know where I get my messages from, but I don't have the answers for everything. I get my messages and I deliver them. That's all I do. But I am shocked by many times when the Spirit comes to me through the readings and describe what their heaven is, or something I don't know about heaven. I'm bewildered by it, but I love it. The physics up there are not like the physics we have down here, and it's hard for other people, and it's hard for people with logical minds that understand that. Maybe because God's mind is so much greater than ours that we have to accept that. But once the spirit leaves the body, there's a cord that's connected to your body and to the spirit. Once that cord gets snapped or cut, then that is the time of the death. If you have a loved one who is comatose and never woke up, it's, you know, and just sitting there, and family has to make that decision about, you know, we have to let that person go. Understand that soul is standing outside of that body. That soul is not stuck in that body being comatose, but that soul is kind of still stuck in that operating room, or what do you call it? Maybe the room where that loved one is laying there. Maybe in hospice. It's holding on, but that spirit hears everything that's being said in that room. Until somebody pulls, what you call pulls the cord, or, you know, allows that loved one to die. pass away, then that cord will snap, and then finally that soul can go into the light with the loved one, and they're able to be free again. So when you're in a room with a loved one who's passed away, remember this. Be careful what you say in there. If you're talking about people, you're talking something negative about that person, that spirit is in that room still. He hears, or she hears everything. In fact, this is very proven with me in a lot of my readings. I've had spirits say, I've heard everything you said in that room and I'm not happy. I've heard that, and other things that other spirits have said like that. And that validates that reader that, yeah, they heard you. So just try to say the negative stuff out of that room. It's not good for the family. It's not good for you. It's not good for that spirit. It's not good for anything. And if you're in a room like that with a loved one, that's a time for praying, to being together as a family, and putting all negative things aside and forgiving. Now, what's also important to understand, and I don't want to sound preachy, but this is very important. When if you know somebody's going to die, it is really important for you to find a way of forgiving them, forgiving yourself. Even if it's for a moment, saying, I forgive you, but can you please forgive me for saying this, or please forgive me for doing that? That's going to take a huge load off of you, and that will help you move on in life. And to understand that that spirit is going to forgive you, because when they cross over, everything is forgiven on the other side. They don't hold remorse. There's nothing negative up there. So you're going to be okay. If you say, and I get this sometimes, I've heard stories of people saying, the last words I told my mom was that I hated her. And then she died in a car wreck. How sad is that? And how sad is that for the person who's got this teenage kid that's got to live that life, their whole life that way, knowing that that was the last thing that they said, because they're going through what teenagers go through. Teenagers say a lot of stupid things. I've probably done many times too. But that teenager's got to live through that pain, and unfortunately, sometimes that pain can go into addiction. Just understand that we got to forgive ourselves. We've got to forgive other people during this time. It's very important. You never want to hold grudges over somebody that's crossing over, even if that person hurts you, did something horrible to you. Forgive them. Forgive yourself. Because you'll never have that relationship. If you don't want that relationship with them, you don't have to. But it's that time so that you can move on and be happy. It's very important. It's a time for you not to go carrying on that burden anymore of what that person did to you. Mentally or physically. Just let it go. That's the past. Learn from it and move on. Love yourself more. Use it maybe to help other people. And that's tough for a lot of people. But it's important so that you can be a better person in life. There are times, that I think of that stuff too. I'm human too. Like, there's been a few people I think they're unforgivable, but I have to learn to forgive them. That doesn't mean I have to have a relationship with them, but it helps me to move on in my life, and helps me to be happy. If you're a Christian, you understand what that's all about when God keeps talking about forgiving. It's not just forgiving to be happy and everybody is cool and everything. The other part is just that you can be at peace. That's what it's all about. To understand that if somebody's done to you something so bad and they made it to heaven, they've already, everything's forgiven on their part. But you got to do the forgiving. It's not too late to ask for forgiveness when they've crossed over. I get that people come to me and do readings, and they want me to say, can you ask my cousin so-and-so, I'm sorry. And it's always the same story. They always say, everything has already been forgiven. But it's, if that's what it takes to get that forgiveness, I'll do my part. But you don't need me to ask that loved one to forgive you. You can do it yourself. But if you want me to, I can get connected, and I will do that for you. Heaven is a place where there's no remorse. Heaven is a place where there's no anger. There's nothing negative there. People in heaven don't hold anything in against anybody. Everything's forgiven and let go up there. All the secrets are done and they move on. It is up to us now, living down here, so we can move on and be happy. Our loved ones also don't want us to mourn all the time for them. There's a time for mourning, and when that time's done, let's move on, because they'll keep coming down to check on you to see if you're okay. They don't want us to be down here mourning year after year after year. They know you're sad, but for some reason we can't. Some people just can't let it go. And I encourage people to mourn. Please mourn. Mourn when you need to. Mourn when you can. But don't hold on. Don't keep doing it more and more. And there is a truth to that. That when we do that, we're holding them down a little bit more, because they're coming down worrying about us. They want to make sure we're okay. But allow some of that pain to go away. It's okay to miss them. It's okay to love them. But when we're mourning, when we're still holding on to that, we're holding on to that pain. We're holding on to them as well. And that's not good at times. So just remember that. Let's see. Anything else about the death you need to know about? It's important. Death is complicated. You always hear everybody's got different theories and stories about death all the time. I just go with what my readings tell me and what it's about, and that's what I go with. And I trust it, because mine always given me validation back. People will say, well, do your personalities change when you cross over? They don't. They really don't. If you have a cousin, for instance, if you have a brother that likes to cuss like a sailor, if I'm doing a reading for you over the phone, he's going to cuss like a sailor. I don't think they can cuss in heaven. I don't think that. But when they come down to this level, I think they can. And they just go and they cuss. And if you ever, with a phone reading or a meeting event with me, and I start laughing when I'm cussing, that's not my vocabulary. That's why I think it's kind of funny. Because it's not something I would say, or do. I've done readings with a family, and I don't remember doing this, but I kept going like this with my hair, and I don't have hair. And the mom goes, "Oh my God, that's exactly what my daughter-in-law does." When I was already doing a reading with her, like I was mimicking what she does with her hair. When I'm getting into that, when I'm getting that close to a reading, I don't know some of the things I'm saying or doing a lot of times, but it's validation for that reader, and that's the important part for the reader, that they will know, that's all it's about. Spirits will do many things to me to get to valid, even if it's something small, but it'll be something big to that reader. I've done a phone reading here in my house one time for a girl connecting with her boyfriend or husband, and I kept feeling like something was messing with my hair, where there was no flies in my house. I'm like, what is, like something was touching me or playing with my hair. Finally, I asked her, "Did your boyfriend like to touch your hair all the time?" And she said, "Yeah." Sorry, my dog is going to be barking. They see something across the street. Sorry, you can probably see him right there, right? Yeah. You get over dramatic over stuff out there. But anyway, I'll see visions many times. Even if something small that doesn't make sense to me, I got to throw it out there, because that reader will know what it means. It means more to them than what it would mean to me. Once in a while, I'll get the numbers, and I'll throw the number out, and they'll know what that number means. It could be an address, part of a phone number. It could be anything. It's more to the reader, like I said. But my dogs are going crazy, and I think it's about time for me to go. I'm probably going to throw them outside for a while. But I just wanted to address this because I'm going through this. I do feel your pain when you're all mourning, just so you know. You're not alone. And if you need me, I understand this. I understand the pain. I am here. You can find me on my on my Facebook. If you type in Psychic Medium Paul Cazinos, the way my name was on here, Paul Cazino. But if you type in Psychic Medium in front of it, like it, and you can find it. If you're new to this page, please subscribe below. That way, when I am live or when I'm doing a video, you'll be notified when I am on. But I just hope this helps you guys. And I like to do these kind of videos to help you guys understand, to educate yourselves. I go with my experiences so that you would understand. And I hope you guys stay safe during this COVID thing. Keep praying for each other. That's what we need the most right now, praying and helping each other. Do acts of kindness more. And just stay positive if you can. You guys take care and be safe.